Leroy Abraham, General Manager, CEO of the BVI Electricity Corporation. First of all, good afternoon, viewing residents of the BVI. My condolences to anyone who has suffered loss of life as a result of the passage of Hurricane Irma. My condolences from my family and the family of BVIEC to you. At this point in stage with regards to electricity and the restoration of electrical supply, I'm pleased to advise that 2 days ago we successfully were able to bring up the Parkwood Pond Power Station. So that power station is now operational. Yesterday we were successful in bringing power to our commercial financial district, Wickhamski area. Last night we were successful on putting a few businesses, including the hospital and key essential areas, on the grid. Today our focus is to put those financial institutions and other commercial businesses, those particularly that have no physical structural damage, on the grid, add them to the grid, and that process is currently taking place now. In the next few days we're going to have the entourage of linesmen from the region who are going to come in to assist us with the restoration process, and we start to spread out from the capital in terms of providing customers with power. What I am requesting that those customers who have structural damage to their homes, particularly on top floors, roofs gone, and you have a multi-story building, what we're trying to do with the assistance of the electrical inspection unit is ensure that you can get your place electrically isolated, the floor that is totally damaged, and if you're able to somehow rearrange your premises, modify it such that part of it is habitable. We only want those areas to be on. So if you can get in contact with the electrician at this point in stage to get that done, liaise with the electrical inspection unit. So once we start the energization of the country, we will be able to connect you on the grid.
Yeah. So in effect, we've heard previous reports that it would take about 2 to a month to resolve the electricity restoration in Rotown. I do understand that you're working in pockets at the moment, and particularly those buildings that are essential services with minimal structural damage. Can you put a time frame on the restoration of the capital?
At this point in stage, we're not putting any time frames on anything. What we're trying to do based on the extent of the devastation is to ensure that we do everything in a systematic and emphasis safe manner. A majority of the buildings have some structural damage to them, and ultimately we do not want to connect any building such that it results in a safety risk, whether fire or fatality or casualty to someone who is working because of exposed wires. Based on the extent of the damage, this is not a race. As I said, we're trying to do this in a very systematic, efficient, and as safely as possible.
When compared to other storms, right, and your response course, I know nothing compares to Irma's strength, but what is particularly challenging about this hurricane that is perhaps preventing you from moving as fast as you did in previous storms?
The extent of the devastation. The extent of the devastation literally locked everyone in for a few days before roads could be cleared. There's galvanized and debris all over the island. This is historic, at least for me in my lifetime, for the BVI in reference to any storm, to see this level of destruction. Approximately, I would say, if I had to put a number on it, is approximately between, I would say, 5 to 6% of buildings that are still structurally sound and has no damage absolutely in the entire territory. So that in itself was a major challenge. I know we always stress it, we keep re-emphasizing it after every storm. If you don't need to be on the road, because that is also a challenge as well, the number of motorists on the road also prevents us from doing what it is we have to do as quickly as we would like to get it done.
And if you have to estimate how many poles are down?
If I was to, and I'm talking about not just poles, just the entire infrastructure as a whole. Poles, transformers, the whole T&D infrastructure, because it comprises more of poles. It's transformers, it's poles, it's cabling, it's switchgear. When we assess it, it's approximately 80 to 85% of the T&D infrastructure has been affected. We're hoping that our first shipment of poles would arrive the island a week from Monday coming. So if that is achieved, as I say, that will help significantly, as I say, our restoration efforts to start spreading from town as we typically do. At this point in stage, based on the level of devastation, everyone should be, everyone has some work to do in terms of clearing their property, in terms of debris. We likewise are doing our share of clearing based on the damage. Our main headquarters at Longbush is practically leveled, so we're actually operating out of temporary location at this point in stage. So all of us have our work cut out. So patience is a virtue at this point in stage, which all of us, if you don't have that virtue, is something you need to pray for at this point.